Hello again. I'm back for my second face-to-face video. Slightly less nervous than my first one. I was absolutely petrified, as you could probably tell in my first video, but I really enjoyed it, and I just want to thank everyone that watched the video, that liked it, left a comment, and there were some lovely comments, and I received some lovely messages as well from people saying, that, some of what I said that, they've experienced themselves and that they're going through some tough times as well. It made me feel not alone. I know there's lots of people that are struggling with their mental health, as like I have been. But you do feel alone at times, and it's always good to talk to people. So I'm always here, if anyone wants to send me a message, I'm always here to talk to anyone about anything, if it helps. Like I said in my first video, I'm doing this channel to help myself and to help as many people as I can, even if it's just that one person. But we're all in this together. What I've learned over the last few years, as I explained in my first video, is working for me. I know what direction I want to head. I know where I want to be. I know the feelings that are within us all, that are there, and it's just trying to find those feelings. I've experienced them and just want more of that, because it's a wonderful feeling, that feeling of just being present and having no thoughts, no worries. Like I said, I've had those moments that haven't lasted for very long, but I want to get back to there and have as much experience as much of that as I possibly can. I just want to talk a little bit more about myself and something I struggle with. And again, I mentioned in my first video, I'm a bit of a people pleaser, as I'm sure quite a few of you may have taken on that role in life as well, and it's exhausting. People pleasing, it's something that we're not born with. We're all born with a clean slate. We're all perfect, and it's just over time, through when we grow up, we learn behaviours through experiences, what we're told, what we're taught. There could be events that happen, and it creates the person we are today, and throughout life, things happen, and we're constantly changing, but we're creating almost like an avatar. It's not our true selves. It's built up through all these past experiences and behaviors, and we become something we're not. And people pleasing, I see it as a mask. It's a part of who I'm not. And I was trying to think when I took on that role, and I think it must have been, in fact, I know it was when I started secondary school, because I can never remember being at, when I was really young or at primary school, being a people pleaser. I felt as though I was quite popular. There might be some people that disagree with that, but at the time, that's how I felt. I wasn't really worried what people thought about me. I was just natural and just enjoyed my time at primary school. But things changed when I went to secondary school. It's a bigger school, new people, nobody knew me. Well, very few people did. So it's like starting again. And I felt as though being agreeable, saying yes to things, being kind, being nice, I learnt, to me, it protected me. It made me feel safe. I struggled to say no. I didn't want to disappoint people. It became exhausting. I tried my best to avoid conflict, to gain approval and acceptance. And it was almost like a survival strategy. Like I say, felt like protection. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be seen as funny, although I was never confident enough to try and be funny, just in case I wasn't. I am funny, by the way. I've got some cracking dad jokes, and actually going off track a little bit. Doing research into what makes a good YouTube video is trying to keep user attention. So if I save one of my dad jokes to the end, then hopefully you'll watch all the way through, and YouTube might see it as a good video and push it out to even more people. So I'll save a dad joke to the end. Where was I? Yeah, people pleasing. So people pleasing, I become someone who's helpful, peacemaker at times. If there is conflict, I'll try and be the good person and try and put a stop to it and make everyone calm down. And just, that was part of the role. Always agreeing and just being reliable as well. But at the cost of that, it left me feeling, it still does sometimes, feeling drained and exhausted, and overthinking a lot of times. If a lot of the times, or being a people pleaser, it's saying yes when you mean no, and then you regret that later on, and you start overthinking, like, why did I agree to that, just to be nice and didn't want to disappoint someone. And not only worrying about what people think, if I didn't say yes, it's also that feeling of being unseen as well. It's a horrible feeling. Saying no is really difficult. It's something that I'm trying to do more of, because there's nothing wrong with saying no. But that fear of rejection and that fear of conflict and disappointing people, makes you feel really guilty. But that feeling of being guilty by saying no doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It's just you're breaking an old pattern. So it is a good thing to say no at times. And if you really don't want to do something, or it's something that you disagree with, it's okay to say no, and it's a good thing because it sets boundaries. Because people don't know the real you. All the time you're agreeable and pleasing people, that's not the real you. If you can say no, you can still do it in a polite way. It just becomes easier over time, and getting rid of that people-pleasing mask is my goal. Like I say, it doesn't mean I'm not going to stop being kind, or you can still do that, but it's just at times when you need to say no and you want to say no, there's nothing wrong with that, and people will learn to respect that. They might be a bit of a shock at first. They might thinking, well, what's the matter with him or her? It's so now, before I immediately give a decision, yes or no, I pause. There might be a time I'll say, can I have a think about that and get back to you? And that gives me that little bit of breathing space then to be able to make a decision, rather than just immediately saying, yes, I'll do it, and then regretting it later on. And another thing I noticed with myself, and my wife will probably tell you the same, is that when I agree to some things that I don't necessarily want to do, I become a bit passive aggressive, and I'll be moody, and sometimes I don't even mean it, but she'll see it in my face, and it's not very nice for her, and others will pick up on that as well. And it's it's okay to say no, and that's what I'm learning. It's not my true self. Trying to get rid of that false me, and get rid of that ego that's built up over time, that false image, and enjoy life more and not worry about what people think. Like I say, saying no doesn't mean you have to be rude or selfish. You can still be polite and nice and kind. That's not what it's all about. That's all I want to talk about at the moment is that the people pleasing and how it affects me. And please let me know in the comments if you're a people pleaser and you struggle with that, and share any tips or any good practice things that you're doing that help you get rid of that people pleasing mask. Love to. We're in this together, so I haven't got all the answers. I'm just sharing my experiences and what I learned and know, but I'm still learning. So yeah, please feel free to share in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Oh, I'm back again. I forgot about the dad joke, which is the most important part of the video. I said this one at our team meeting today, so there'll be a few people that have heard this one, but just a little bit about myself. In the past, I used to be addicted to mud wrestling, but I've been clean now for 6 years, which is really good thing. So please give a like and subscribe, just purely for that joke, if not anything else. But thanks. See you again on the next video. Bye bye.